It's time for episode 15 of Kamen Rider Geats. Now, a little footnote, little sidebar over here. I didn't do a yeet last video for when Ace was eliminated because I forgot. um, and I was like, oh man, I was like, do I do I do this? Like, I mean, I get that he got yeeted. It happened. It was a thing, but at the same time, when you watch episode 15, was he really yeeted? If I'd done the yeet counter, I would have had to retract my statement. And this episode we got a yeet anyways, which I'll get into later on. So we can still do the counter. It's fine. Everything's safe. Uh, this is one of those episodes where there's we Ace is such a competent and just always one step ahead of everyone from a standpoint of a main character, and I'm really enjoying that. But it's almost like every situation now that happens, like Ace is going to come out on top now, and I feel like that's building up to like a nice misdirection that we're going to get eventually when he does ultimately not win. But this was a very good uh Ace episode, I guess, because we're not really getting too much more in the sense of Kawa or Nyan. And so I was like, you know what? It's all right. We start the episode. Ace is, he wakes up, no memory of anything because he was eliminated. And, we see Giori and him asking about his day. And, Ace just does his normal, oh, I'm going to go to a photo shoot and then this and that. And, we got a little bit more of Ace's arrogant, I'm a star attitude, which we haven't really seen in a bit, which was pretty cool. I already had this feeling like something like he was going to be in the episode. I thought was going to happen. I don't usually check the previews for the next episode, and I also don't take them into consideration when I do my reviews. So I was like, well, we know he's going to come back. It's literally called Kamen Rider Geats, Uh, one other thing that I'm really digging is the Sumeri stuff. Her and Yori and they talk, and she even says hey, you broke the rules. You interfered in his elimination, this and that. And even Yori says, he's justifying it every time. He has his justification. He says it was necessary to ensure that the DGP continues going on. And I'm just like, they've really planted these seeds that Ace is like a big threat to the inner workings of the DGP. Whereas we still have that mystery man, we have the gardener, and we have Nan's father, who's a sponsor, who we haven't really figured much out yet. Still, we have Punk Jack's, grandfather also. So it's kind of like one of those things where it's like Ace is such a big threat, but who are these other people that also have been, to an extent, interfering in the DGP? I mean, and I'm just like, we're not getting those answers in this episode. Even the gardener, I know he has a name, but I'm going to call him the gardener. Him and Jory talk, or Rory talk, and you know, even he was shocked. He's like, he didn't expect Geats to be eliminated, and now because of that, his Jamato has the chance to destroy the world, and it's kind of funny because they are building up in this episode that Ace is the real threat. Ace is the one who they always know will win, and they really don't have faith in Buffa, Tycoon, or Nago in winning the DGP. And he even brings up his Jamato have been evolving and learning through good nutrition. Yes, good nutrition will make you grow big and strong and smarter. So eat vegetables and other things, and not unhealthy junk food and snacks. I we saw the final boss, and instantly I thought the fortress version of it. I was like, why does this look like if Victory Bell from Pokemon got a Mega Evolution, or the Gigantamax from Sword and Shield? So I was like, this big plant with flower in front, and that's the first thing that popped in my head. Literally, look right here, Victory Bell. Now imagine that as a Mega form, another evolution past it. That's what it is. So I the final round, it's similar to the first episode where it was like scoring points, so you get points for saving civilians, defeating Jamato, and obviously the fortress boss. Like already hinted at, like Nago and Kawa are like kind of having their self doubt that they can win. Buffa obviously is very confident they can win. One thing I noticed: there's no Punk Jack. He hasn't been eliminated, right? He was, yes, he became like a puppet for Glare at the end of the last episode, but Hirori is back in the civilian form and everything else. So where is Punk Jack in all this? And like my other thing is like, because Punk Jack is so tied to DGP. Obviously, his grandfather got him a job there, so his grandfather has to be higher up the ranking than the game master. So you, in theory, Punk Jack should have more pull, even though he was like a slacker and losing all his money and in debt, and his grandfather made him get the job. But realistically, he should have some sort of family pull and ties above the game master. Uh, but yeah, so this whole um everything about like like especially Neon doubting herself and everything like that's been kind of like for the last two episodes. Just, I guess since she returned via her dad, this has been kind of like her character growth arc where she's doubting herself, which means she will come out on top at some point. But we see the scene where Keiwa, Neon, Azuma, they're going over what their wishes are and like kind of like hyping themselves up, giving their driving factor and their motivation for them to actually win this round. Obviously, we see a Toru flashback again because Azuma definitely wants to defeat all the Kamen Rider, and I was like, okay, this is cool. Uh, the fighting sequences kind of were they like at least from a Nago and Tycoon standpoint, we're really there to just show how overwhelmed they are in this final battle. They even say, so I guess this is what a final round is like. Whereas you had Buffa, zombie mode, just wailing on everybody, fighting one of the boss Jamatos, not the Jamato Riders. He did this cool thing where he had a zombie buckle, and then he did a revolve on with a cartwheel into changing, which I thought was pretty cool. We even got some one of the Jamatos started talking, and it was a line from Shiro from the first episode when they were on the rooftop looking at the fortress boss. So even he was like, "Wait a minute." So we're definitely getting more and more of these previous contestants being linked to the Jamatos, and then we get Nago and Tycoon. They're still fighting. They're doing combo attacks on this Jamato rider who is basically immune to their attacks. And once again, he quotes Ginpen, and Kayla once again is piecing things more together. Like he knows 100% now that there's definitely a tie between the two. And even in all this, Nago once again is bringing up the fact that they can't win, and the only reason why maybe they've been winning and doing this because Ace is there, because he is putting his life on the line, because he has that thing to win. And I'm just like, man, this is like it's so. I get it. They haven't been in a like their final round like this before. Before they kick the can and everything else. That's one thing, but like to see both characters really doubting that they can win in their strength, it's just like kind of like almost like, damn, I was hoping maybe they had that spark to fight because Ace wasn't there, but that wasn't the case. Uh, no other time Ace is at a photo shoot, Ace. He's got his star drip on, just doing photos, Jamato attack, and one of the things is like the whole entire time Sumri and Garori are watching this, and even Sumri is bringing her doubts that they will win because of how overwhelmed they are. But Garori once again is like Buffa. He's got the experience. He's got this. He's the one who's gonna win it. And I was like, I was like, are we sure? Because you know, Buffa's still hard headed and stubborn, and they do kind of have that thematic for him acting like that to the point where he basically goes after the fortresses himself. Gets basically taken out. He hasn't been yeeted. No yeets yet. Camera over here, not that camera. I don't have that camera like hooked up yet. Still setting things up. So basically, Buffa's taken out. He's not defeated yet. Ace shows up. Ace is talking to him, and Buffa remembers Ace doesn't have his memories, and he's like, get out of my way. You're in my way. You're a civilian. Falls over. Ace once again tells him not to overdo it, and bravery isn't the same as recklessness. And once again, Buffa, they had the flashback where basically that's exactly what Ace told Buffa back in the lounge. dozen episodes or so ago, and we see Buffa. He's not gonna give up. He once again gets a flashback to Toru again, and honestly, I'm like, okay, one or two things are happening. Buffa's gonna dig down deep and find that strength and win, or he's getting yeeted. He gets yeeted. Okay, I'm just saying he gets yeeted. So, because like, let's face it, at this point in the show, Buffa winning would not make sense from a wish standpoint, pushing the story and the narrative forward. We still have too many moving parts going on. We still need to know more about the sponsors, game master stuff, this mysterious man. Like, there's too much in the gardener. Even there's too much stuff going on to have a situation where Buffalo wins and he has the power to destroy all Kamen Riders. Like, that's just not going to happen. So Buffa gets hit with super attack from the fortress. So we get the whole Ace holding Buffa in his arms on the ground. Buffa even says, like, why can't he do what Ace can do? What is it like? He starts questioning, everything. And then as his ideal core cracks, he hands Ace his driver. Even questions like, were you playing everyone a fool? And you should convince us that your words were worth believing in. Because, he was, in a sense, even though he always wanted to win, he did kind of hype up everyone. He told Buff at one point he could win, but he's stubborn. He wasn't really always, he wanted the competition. He wouldn't go down without a fight, but that was really cool to see. And we get Buffa yeeted. The yeet counter has returned. Yeets are now at 7. 7 yeets so far. And this was a bittersweet one because I like Buffa. I've been saying it since the first episode, this and that. I really enjoy Buffa as a character. Azuma, I think his backstory, everything else, like, I wish he had more like backstory civilian stuff to kind of build his character up more. But I do like him as a character. He's right behind Kawa, and Kawa's number one. So we see everyone is getting overall the Yamato. Ace, they all run back to the lounge. This is where some of the more not entertaining, more story, plot driven stuff, and just how cunning and smart Ace is starts happening. So Ace says, he touched that E-core. He has his memory back. He outs Garori as the game master. Oh, excuse me, game master in front of Kawa and Neon. They're very confused. He keeps saying, "Put me back in the game. I can win." And he's like, "You know what? You don't want the Yamato to win and wipe out the game area. You don't want that to happen. He's the best option." Um, you know, even Garori says, "No, Neon and Kawa can still win." And even Kawa doubts. He says, the Jamato are related to eliminated players. He asks him about this, and he says because of everything going on in his mind and it's such a mess, he can't even focus on fighting. And then Neon even brings up that she wants her wish, but she doesn't have the strength to reach them yet. And also, even Gory wants to cheat again. He's like, "Hey, I'll prepare an item to assist you." And it's the freaking boost buckle. And I'm like, the boost buckle? Really? I get it. Fire type is, strong against plant and grass type. I get it. It works. Um, And he even tells Ace, like, if you win, you don't get your wish. You're not the desired deity. Like, why would you want to do this then? And, Ace is like, he wants to protect his world. And he even says, "Hey, well, too bad you're not qualified to be a rider. Deuces." And Sumari shows up and says that he is because of his first wish. Remember his first wish? As long as he's alive, he's a Kamen Rider. So he's still able to. She has his ID core and his driver. And I was like, this is and Igor is like, "This was your plan the whole time." And then we get some cool flashbacks where literally Ace knew all this ahead of time. And I'm like, this is where I'm like, when in the beginning of my review I said he's competent, smart, one step ahead of everyone constantly, and it's refreshing from a main character standpoint. Because around his room he left clues, and behind a poster of himself he wrote down everything going on. He's like, "You got to touch an ID core, you're going to be attacked, do this, do that." And I'm like, even brings up the memories race, and I was like, that's it. That's why I like Ace as a character from a main character rider standpoint, because we haven't really had that in such a long time. We haven't had a over, like, usually we get like these sometimes passive, self doubting, overly righteous characters. We have someone who's just so arrogant and smart and ahead of everyone, which now ties back into when he talked to Punk Jack in the episode before when he got him to admit the stuff. Obviously, he went back and did all this stuff in his room. Um, and now we get the montage. The montage of Ace wrecking shop because when they play the main theme, you know shit's going down. And they played the main theme. We got, and it was kind of like a gimmick, you know, commercial too. He started using the boost buckle by itself, doing cool like revolve ons mid fight. Then next thing you know, he brings out the Magnum boost form and starts shooting everything, doing his finishing shot. Cool tricks, like always. Every time he has the boost in the Magnum, you know, he's doing the gun flip. Always cool to see. And then even brought out the zombie boost form, which I really enjoyed. And I wish we haven't seen the revolve on finish yet with the tombstones and the kick since that one episode when he was going against Japan. And I really want that again. That was such a good finisher. That's one of my favorites so far of this show, and we have not seen it since that episode. Um, and then ultimately he brings out the twin buckle to power up. One of my favorite things is during all this we still get Neon and Keiwa questioning Gurori, and she even says, "Hey, my dad's a sponsor in the DGP," and even Keiwa's like, "Well, what are you hiding?" And he's like, even Sumer is about to be like, "Hey, we should tell him." He's like, "No, we're not," and he walks away. Uh, Asu's twin the twin form was it the cannon jet form, and obviously it destroys the boss. We see Mystery Man one more time, and he's all like, "Woohoo!" He's all happy, and that's really it for that. Except for the fact the game didn't end, and Sume shows up and says the game master is giving him a chance to restore his status as a participant, and at the same time, in the lounge, Rory is in there telling Keiwa and Nailon there's a final chance for both of them to still win with one more game. We're getting the DGP playoffs. And I'm like, playoffs? I was like, can you have playoffs with three people? I thought, like, it's to be like, is it going to be round round? Like, I'm not going to talk about the preview, but yeah, we're getting the playoffs now. And we get a new DGP rule, which I wish we had gotten sooner, but obviously all the rules are usually based on that episode. And it says a game clear is not recognized unless the game master has officially approved it. So yeah, we're getting one more game. It's not over. This episode, like I said, Buffa getting eated, but just showing that side of Buffa where he just doesn't want to give up. Also, us seeing more of the tricks, the cunning nature, and the smarts of Ace was it, and then mainly just K1 Neon, the self doubt. Like I said, the main thing I'm confused about is why Punk Jack's not around. That's the one thing I'm like, but I'm sure that'll get explained somehow. I don't know how, but it should and probably will. But that's it for my review of episode 15 of Kamen Rider Geats and my overview, obviously. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of the episode. I enjoyed it. I'm really looking forward to the next episode. And yeah, that's really it. Everyone, I thank you guys for subscribing. Dude, I don't even know where I'm at right now. I think I just passed 850. So I appreciate everyone who's been subscribing and checking out the videos. I've been trying to do more manga review. If you haven't already, go check out my Kamen Rider Kuga Volume 1 manga review. That's live on the video on the channel. I got some Soto stuff I'm doing, more toys. I'm still organizing everything because it's kind of hectic. But I thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.